Welcome to Prepare to Care. We are the AARP podcast that provides resources and tools to help support caregivers and their loved ones. Good afternoon. I'm your host. I'm Orum. It's the new year, and that means New Year's resolutions. For many, these resolutions are to either lose weight, exercise more, or to eat more healthily. Well, our guest today can help us with that last resolution I mentioned, eating healthy. The Houston Chronicle wrote that Robin Owens was a working mom who never had time for herself. But now she finds love for fitness and healthy eating. She joins us to help us find our joy in eating healthy as well. Robin, thank you for joining us.
Andy, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be on the podcast with you guys today.
Excellent. Well, Robin, why don't we begin by you telling us about your fitness story?
Okay, thank you. That's a great question. I started probably now 4 years ago. Never picked up a weight, had never ever entered a gym, and had decided that it was time for me to take control of my fitness journey. I had probably, over the course of 5 or 8 years, had probably gained 25 or 30 pounds more than what I would normally carry on my body. And I decided it was time to make a change. And when I started working out, I started to see myself get stronger and healthier. But it wasn't until I really listened to my trainers and made some changes to what I was eating that I really saw the weight come off. I saw my muscles get stronger. And I really saw the lasting and sustained changes that I was looking for. And it really boiled down to what I was eating every day.
Well, Robin, I think so many of us can relate to your journey there.
Absolutely.
But let's go. It's 2021 now, and many of us have made resolutions to be healthy. What's the first thing we should do to stay on track?
So that's a great question. The first thing I think that everybody should do to stay on track is just do something every day. Sometimes we'll make a huge goal. I'm going to run 10 miles a day starting on January 1st, and it doesn't become sustainable. So I would encourage everyone that even if you can just get out and walk for 5 minutes on day one, and 6 minutes on day two, and 7 minutes on day three, then you have made positive steps towards your goal and your resolution. The biggest key is don't give up, even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel like you're not seeing any kind of progress. Keep going. That's the biggest encouragement that I would give, and the biggest advice that I would share with anybody who's starting over again, like we all do from time to time. Even myself, I've had to start over since I achieved what I thought was my weight loss goal. Life interrupts, things happen. And so people have to remember to take it easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up when you fall, when you get off track, and just get back in the game and keep doing it every single day. Because I promise you, if you do that, you'll begin to see the results you want.
Excellent, Robin. Thank you for that advice. I've read where you've said meal prep can help us reach our health goals and save money as well. Can you explain how that can happen?
100%. I know that most of us who lead busy, harried lives, whether you're parenting, whether you're working full time, whether you're working and an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you might be doing, a lot of times eating is an afterthought, and we don't think about what we're going to put in our body until we're starving. And when we get to that point, we're going to grab the first thing that's available to us. If instead you will take the time to plan your meals out, prepare them in advance, then when that hunger strikes, you can immediately go and grab something that's already healthy, that you know has the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbohydrates, and the right amount of fat to give your body the fuel it needs to keep this high charge lifestyle that you might be engaged in. So, and I would also add that when you look at what meals cost to prepare, you can prepare healthy meals for $3 or $4 a meal, maybe 5 or 6, as compared to whether you're going to eat fast food or you're going to sit down at a fast casual or a dine-in restaurant. You will spend at least $20 on a meal. So when you look at the savings, you can really eat for a week off of what you might eat out one time if you meal prep at home.
Excellent. Well, I see that you're in your kitchen.
I am.
And I've read that you do meal preps, Robin. So how about showing us some examples?
Absolutely. I would love to do that. I'm going to switch and get a camera where you can see my kitchen cam, and we're going to do a very simple recipe. Let me just set this up a little bit before I turn and show you what I'm going to provide.
Certainly.
One of my favorite tools in the kitchen, and this is going to be a funny thing to think about, one of my favorite tools in the kitchen is a muffin tin. And this is simple. You would think normally you make those beautiful big muffins that you see at the bakery stores or what have you. But what I use it for instead is for things like meatloaf, or what we're going to do today, which are egg cups. And so this is a tool that I use in my kitchen on a weekly basis, and it's going to allow us to portion our meal exactly the way that we need it to. It's going to allow us to cook a variety of items and makes cleanup a breeze. So we're going to switch. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do.
Excellent.
So as I mentioned, we're going to do a quick preparation for breakfast, which is an egg cup. And you can really do this any time of day. I can eat eggs any time of day, really. So, but what I'm going to show you here is just a couple of simple ingredients. I have some smoked turkey that you could use. It could be a leftover from a previous dinner. Just coming off the holidays, you might have some smoked turkey, some smoked ham that might be left over. I've got some freshly chopped spinach right here and a little bit of pico de gallo. So that's what I'm going to use to make an egg cup. I'm going to simply take a couple of eggs. I'm going to test my cracking skills there. Okay, crack one.
Excellent.
Crack two. Crack three. I see I got a little tiny piece of shell, but I'm gonna get that out. And even as a meal prep person, my stuff is rarely perfect, so you don't expect that yours would be either. Rarely. Okay. So we're gonna do 4 eggs, and in this size of muffin tin that we're using, those 4 eggs are gonna make us 2 full egg cups. So I'm just gonna simply whisk my eggs. And just note how long this is taking us. It's going to just take a couple of quick minutes. I did a little bit of prep ahead of time. But other than that, there. Now beat the eggs. I'm going to add, if you like a little pepper, I'm going to add a little bit of ground pepper to this. And then real simply, I'm going to take my muffin tin and I'm going to put my ingredients in first. Like I'm going to put a little bit of ground. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I forgot one important thing. Some nonstick spray. You don't want these things to stick. So even though I've got a nonstick pan, I'm going to make sure that I add my nonstick spray in first as well. Quick spray, quick spray. And now I want to put in a little bit of ground turkey into each of these. I'm going to top it with some spinach. As much or as little as you want. And if you don't care for spinach, you can use broccoli. You don't have to put a vegetable in. You can put cheese inside. You can put whatever it is that your taste dictates, you can do. I'm putting in a little bit of mango salsa that I get from a local grocery store here that's really, really yummy. And that's my setup. So you look at, that's what it looks like before I put my egg in. And then I'm going to give these things a quick stir one more time. And take my little bowl and I'm going to pour a little bit of egg in one just below the fill line and then put the rest of it in the other. Those are not 100% even, but again, you're cooking it and eating it at home, so it's okay for it to be exactly like that. So if you were going to fix these for your family, you could use a dozen eggs and fill this entire pan up, and that way you'd have an entire muffin cup would be a complete breakfast for any one person. I'm going to open my oven. I have my oven preheated to 375, and I'm going to put them in for about 20 minutes. Let's see here. Put that in my oven. Even as an experienced cook, I always use my kitchen timer because in this day and time, I'll start scrolling on my phone or answering emails or what have you, and will forget and have burned too many meals, not paying attention to my time. In about 20 minutes, those are going to come out of the oven. But let me show you what that final product will look like. I baked these this morning just so we could see kind of exactly what we're going to have. And you can serve them with a 1/4 cup of blueberries, a little bit of extra sauce on the side. That's a perfectly balanced breakfast.
Robin, thank you so much. Is there any last piece of advice you'd like to share with our listeners about what you do and how you do it and how we can find you in other places?
So my last piece of advice would be the small changes that you make are the ones that are going to make the biggest difference. Starting off with substituting water for soda, water for juice will be one thing that you can do that will start you on that journey of changing your body, changing your eating habits, and really making you feel good from the inside out. If there's anybody in Houston, please follow us on social media. It's Meal Prep with Me _HOU. And on Facebook, Meal Prep with Me HOU.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your
Sure.
time, and thank you all for having me on your podcast.
It's certainly our pleasure to have had you, and we hope to have you again.
Thank you. I'm
And
happy to come back anytime.
super, thank you.
You're welcome.
We encourage our followers to follow us for the Prepare to Care podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, or www.aarp.org/HoustonPTC. Now, you can also find our podcast on the AARP Texas YouTube channels. To our listeners again, thank you for being a part of our show. Thank you for listening. And above all, thank you for caring. Have a happy holidays.
Thank you for AARP for collaborating with us